Don't face the law by yourself. Call Lawyers ASAP. With over 30 years of experience advocating for clients, get the most favorable outcome for your case. Call 1-888-524-6018. 1-888-524-6018.
Welcome to the ONME Sunday Mornings News Review. My name is Julia Dudley Najib, and I am here with
Linus Najib.
It's been a while since you've been on this program. Have you been ducking and dodging us, Linus?
Yes.
Oh, okay. At least he was honest about that. At any rate, we want to be able to give you a recap of what the latest news that's been happening nationwide and also locally. And we first want to say that our local news segment has been brought to you by Chef Paul Pearson.
Yes.
We heard he's the best. Oh, well, we know he's the best, one of the best chefs in town, so we appreciate Chef Paul Pearson being one of our local sponsors for this program. And some of the things we want to recap and talk about include the Michael Brown. I definitely want to get your comments. We talked a little bit about you and the crosswalk, but I want to get your feedback with Mel, who was on the Bill Manders show, and some of the things that were said by the NAACP president and Katina Davis, who's from St. Louis. And just feedback in general. Okay. And we want to also discuss the young man in Ohio. Later on in the program, we'll be discussing the young man in Ohio that was shot in a Walmart store, 21 years old. It just seems like August and July and June. This summer has been a terrible, terrible summer of shooting young black men.
Yeah. One of the things that I notice that I see that a lot of police don't have a relationship in the black community, and particularly with males, African-American male people. So we need to build that relationship better.
So how do you build that relationship better? We keep hearing that. How is it done? What's the formula for that?
It seems like it's intimidation, or a lack of
intimidation from who?
From the police in relations to the African-American male in particular. And we have to find a way where there be some more community involvement.
But it's interesting you say intimidation, because some people would argue that, well, the cops feel intimidated, that's why they have their hand on the trigger. That's why they have to defend themselves.
Well, think about it. The guy at Walmart, what can be intimidating shopping at Walmart or anything there? They don't even have guns in that.
So you think, I guess we'll just get right to that topic as well and kind of mesh it in, shouldn't we? Because that's a good question. Should people that are watching him in Walmart be that scary? Has America become so frightened that every move that a black man makes, we're worried about that? Well,
the news and the media give a black male image very negative. We see a lot of African-American males portrayed as gangsters, portrayed as ones with guns, and very intimidating with black-on-black crimes. So when you're looking at the police demonstrating some sort of fear, not so much fear, they trying to be more protective, and it's a lot of anger. You know, they want, there's a lot of background anger that they're dealing with, because they're dealing with stopping gang violence, and it's usually black on black crime with that, and also.
But is that the same excuse that we're using for law enforcement? So if we're looking at the Michael Brown shooting in Ferguson, Missouri, that is particularly, you're saying, from a law enforcement perspective to a young black male.
Yes.
Now the shooting that was in Ohio, the 21-year-old that was shot by again, law enforcement, was because people that were watching him, he was on his cell phone, minding his business, trying to shop for his young son, and was going past the area where there were some, I guess, play guns, toy guns. I don't know if they were water guns, whatever the case was. He was on the phone not paying attention, didn't notice people around him had their guns drawn, because it was regular people, you know, from the public that called the police on him.
My thing is, you at Walmart. What guns, from my understanding, was like an air gun.
Right.
What can a damage of an air gun? And you see him with earphones on, maybe it was some plugs. That's why they need to get the surveillance tape. We have to
look at the surveillance tape, you can see it.
Yeah, when you actually see the surveillance tape and you can critically look at it, then the story is right there. So until, that's why they're protesting. They want the public to see the surveillance tape.
Did you get a chance to, they have it online.
I didn't get a chance to view it. I didn't really get a chance to view it, to be honest with you. I want to view it, but the surveillance tape and looking at it from all different perspectives would give us.
And in our Michael Brown Part 2, we'll be able to watch the surveillance tape, because as we look at the compilation of all this happening, like we said, this has been one ugly summer. Eric Garner, 43-year-old black man in New York, right? Chokehold. Law enforcement, once again. and of course Michael Brown, and then of course, we have the Ezell Ford, 25 years old, Los Angeles, gunned down, unarmed. So we have to remind everyone that these men are unarmed. That's a scary thought.
You think about it, there's more black on black crime with gang violence that's happening in the community than what the police are doing in killing our African American youth, our males. So we have to look at it from not just police to African American males, but African American males to African American males, all in general in one. So, but the emphasis.
Would you say that there's still a color issue? I mean,
definitely a color issue. It's most definitely a color issue. So, but we have to come up with solutions, some real solutions to deal with this situation.
And I know Mel's talked about it, and it was also mentioned by some of the political leaders there in Ferguson, Missouri, that this should be their cue to vote. They've got to get out there and vote to change what is happening, change policy, and change the people that are in power. Yes. Do you think we'll do that? Do you think that even if we do get in a certain level of power through vote, will things change dramatically?
I think it will. Right now, we have to do something. Before, we've been standing passive. We rallied up with Trayvon Martin. Everybody rallied up, everybody came out, they protest, and we got all excited. And then a month or two go by, and nothing happens. And then the same thing with many other cases. But beyond that, we get all riled up. We show on television the rallies and protests, and then a month or two later, it's forgotten. So we have to be in position of power, financial power mainly, and put ourselves in position so we have a voice.
But you left out political power. So when you say position of power, and you're saying financially, you don't think politics is
Oh, it's most definitely. Politics is the key. We have to put people that has our best interests in those positions that can help us alleviate the situation that we're in.
If the roles were reversed and you had, I'd say, Caucasian Americans that were getting stopped by African American police officers or the like, do you think they would have a better empathy or better understanding? Because I know when on the last show, all the panelists that were here, 100% of us have been stopped, have had somebody in our family stopped. I talked about you getting stopped in a crosswalk. Would you want to share your...
Well, if you're going across a crosswalk and the light is green and you in the parameters and you going across and the light switch real quick and the police on the bike stops you, you know, one thing I'm smart enough to do is cooperate, you know. I don't want to be a story being shot, but I cooperated. I say, yes, sir. He wrote me out a ticket. I took the ticket. I didn't argue with him, nothing, and accepted. So to me, paying $300 or $200 or whatever amount of money that I had to pay was a lot easier than fighting and arguing with a police officer.
But is that the best use of how we should be using our law enforcement? Some would argue that there's so many other things going on in the city and in our county. Watching someone go through a crosswalk to see if it turns red, you know, I'm still trying to understand.
Well, to me, I look at, I'm going to respect the law, number one. I respect police officers and what they do in relations to their job is very stressful, is dangerous. And
it's so dangerous that they're watching you walk across a crosswalk. Well, yes. Because there's no other dangers out there. Because it's dangerous you walking across the crosswalk.
Well, I understand that, and yes, and it might be some kind of bias to it. I was kind of angry about paying the ticket, of course, and
I'm not even talking about the ticket. I'm talking about the issue of just watching you cross the crosswalk, waiting for it to turn red. It just sounds ridiculous, a use of time. And this is where the taxpayer, this is where our money's going. I got to ask the audience. I'm shocked. Are you shocked? That's something, please send me a blog comment because I would like to know. I think that's a little overboard.
Oh, yes, I agree. But that's what his prerogative was. He saw me.
There's nothing else going on in the city but watching a black man walk across the crosswalk. Okay, I'll move on from that.
Thank you.
If you want to say that, if you're okay with that.
It's over. The fine.
It's not over, because let me tell you what just happened. If that's happening to you, a lady who was stopped with her 4 kids in the car, they were terrified, and they were, this is in Texas, and they were on the police were on a chase trying to find a tan car, a particular brand of a car. They stopped the lady in a burgundy car, this black lady. Now, they were looking for 4 black men that were supposed to be armed on the freeway. Because people called in, and they described them as 4 black men on a freeway waving the gun, out the window, whatever the case was, in a tan car. The police stopped a burgundy car with a lady with 4 kids in the back. And the cops are telling her to back up, with their hands up. She doesn't know what's going on. She's terrified. Her 6-year-old comes running out the car with his hands up. This is a 6-year-old, and he is traumatized and crying with his hands up. And the other 3 black young men are terrified in the back of the car.
That is no justification for that. If they have a description of 4 adult black men, and they saw a woman, that just doesn't fit the description, and that was an uncalled for stop, in my opinion.
Obviously it is, but that just, again, reflects the problems that we have when we're talking about in society and how we have the stereotypes and we justify it, and there's no justification behind it. Tan car, burgundy car, and then even the type of car was totally different. But after the news break, we'll be talking about more of these type of issues on our ONME Sunday Mornings review, where we are recapping the latest news that me and Linus get to banter about from nationwide and to local. We'll be right back after the short break.
We like coffee too here, and
tea.
And tea. Yeah, we like coffee and tea.
Well, Cafe Aroma's gonna thrive.
That we drink coffee in urban areas, right? The local coffee shop. Everyone doesn't want to go to the big brand coffee shop. Sometimes you really just want to be able to support a local business where you're going to know the people that are there. They're going to know you by name. And this is one of the places that I'm going to look forward to having a lot of meetings and inviting people to this location.
1, 2, 3.
Cafe Aroma!
We are located at 550 North Fulton Street in Fresno, California, right before Belmont Avenue. Find out more about our open mic night coming up September 24th or karaoke night coming up September 25th. Or how about our Central Valley Women's Minority Business Mixer coming up October 1st. And find out more about our movie night coming up Thursday, October 2nd. I know at the break you're talking about how the youth have something to do with it, and you're saying, is there an unruliness? Why are they unruly? How have they gotten to this point?
Well, because they don't want to take the passive approach. They want immediate change. They, sort of what he was saying, they have a different point of view about how things should be done. They didn't grow up with peaceful protests or rallies. They are more hungry and eager and aggressive about it. And they actually integrate better than the prior generation did. And so for them, they want action now, immediate. It's the mindset of a young person. There's no patience.
So it's not that a young person is bad, per se.
It's just that the nature of being young is not really understanding what patience is. That's not the way. That's a learned skill. Wisdom, that's also something that you gain with age. They see all these political atrocities all over the world. They have white friends, they have black friends, they have Asian friends. And for them, it's a whole different point of view. So they want results right now, today. And we're getting ready to take it to the streets, and we're getting ready to get it now. And that's the attitude. They're not, we shall overcome.
They've already overcome that.
They are way beyond that. That's not the way it's going to go down for this generation. And I personally, honestly feel like let them do it. Let them do exactly what they're doing right now, because this is the world. They'll be the future leaders, and they'll get the change. What is happening in Ferguson is all over the world now. Everybody sees just how ugly business is there. It's an embarrassment. The leadership, they have no control. The police, they're not properly trained. Even I know not to pull out a tank in the middle of a suburban street. You know, even I know that I shouldn't be walking down the street with a gas mask. My 13-year-old, my 18-year-old have better sense than that. These grown men have been seasoned police officers, and they don't know how to police. They have forgotten what it is to be a civil servant, if they even knew what that meant in the first place. To serve and protect. It's power in that. You know, leaders understand that sometimes you have to submit. You can't strong arm everybody. So now these young people, they can take, you know, they might preach, we're going to take over and this and that, but the young people are going to have their way. And they should have it. Let them have it, because change needs to happen. This is an example for the world. So.
But you know what? Even with this, with what she's saying, there's going to be some death, because the system is not willing to give up, even though they're wrong. They're not willing to give up the power and control that they've had for all of these years. So if there's a pursuit of getting it right now, there's going to be a lot of young people laying in the streets all over the country, because that's just, they're not prepared to give it up.
And that's what happened in the 60s, when it was the young people, right, that started the change and the movement. And so, Pamela, what can you say to a young person now that's watching this?
Well, you know, I believe that our young people are truly our future, and they should look at what's going on and recognize, just because you are integrated and going to school and hanging out with those other kids, they still see you as an African American person. And if something goes down, those white kids are going to walk away. They're not going to go to jail. They're not going to go to juvenile hall and go to jail and go to prison. But those white kids are going to get a slap on the hand, and they're going to say, he caused my son to do that. And that's not true. That's not true, but our kids go to jail. And our kids need to recognize that they are different. They have to see the world different. And they have to...
There's nothing wrong with diversity. You're not... It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with diversity. I think diversity is good. I think including other folk is important for us to do. But we need to recognize our world is still like that the black children get in trouble and the white children walk away. It's just the way it is.
And that's the way it is in ONME Sunday Mornings. I'd like to thank the panelists for coming on today and being able to shine some light on some issues that we need a lot of work on. Those rose-colored glasses are off, and hopefully this is something we can begin to, or continue and strive to really get folks talking about it, because we have to do talking and then some action, because this is 2014 and we seem to keep going through some of the same challenges. And of course in our next show we'll have the part 2 of this segment, because this is just the beginning, and we hope these are talking points for you in your home and be able to tell a youth, a young person, where to go to next. Thank you for watching this special report on ONME Sunday Morning.
We like coffee too here, you know, and tea. Yeah, we like coffee and tea.
Well, Cafe Aroma's gonna thrive.
You know, that we drink coffee in urban areas, right? The local coffee shop. Everyone doesn't want to go to the big brand coffee shop. Sometimes you really just want to be able to support a local business where you're going to know the people that are there. They're going to know you by name. And this is one of the places that I'm going to look forward to having a lot of meetings and inviting people to this location.
1, 2, 3.
Cafe Aroma.
We are located at 550 North Fulton Street in Fresno, California, right before Belmont Avenue. Find out more about our open mic night coming up September 24th, or karaoke night coming up September 25th. Or how about our Central Valley Women's Minority Business Mixer coming up October 1st. And find out more about our movie night coming up Thursday, October 2nd.
MPTV Community Calendar brought to you by Salam Seafoods, Yoga Etc., and Watts Family Grill.
African-American sculptor and multimedia artist Mildred Howard will be featured at the Fresno Museum's Council of 100 Distinguished Women Artists for 2014 from September 26th to January 4th, 2015. For more information, go to FresnoArtMuseum.org. The African American Museum will have a Founders Day celebration and membership drive Saturday, September 20th at 5 p.m. Admission is free. Come to 1857 Fulton Street in Fresno, California to join in the celebration. Save the date, Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Jack and Jill of America Incorporated Fresno chapter will have waffles, wings, and blingy things at the African American Museum, located on 1857 Fulton Street in Fresno, California. Vendor booths, tickets are available. Call or text for more information, 559-803-5182.
To submit your event to the AMPTV Community Calendar for consideration, sign up as a member at ebtradio.org. It's free, and post your event on the online calendar ebtradio.org.
US Med has great news for anyone living with diabetes.
If you have Medicare, private insurance, or prescription drug coverage, US Med will ship a new glucose meter right to your home.
And shipping is free.
My new meter uses only a speck of blood, so it's less painful than my previous meter.
If you have Medicare, private insurance, or prescription drug coverage, you're covered with US Med. We're welcoming new patients, even if your current provider can't supply you anymore.
I don't even have to test on my fingers anymore. I can test on my hand or forearms, and it's more accurate than my old meter.
So call US Med today, and you'll have a choice of 2 great meters.
One that actually speaks your results, or a meter so small it fits in the bottle of strips.
Act now, and US Med will include a free prescription discount card. We'll also send you a free diabetes card. We'll also send you opportunity.
So call US Med today.
You'll be glad you did.
Let me tell you some of the reasons people get into trouble with credit cards. A job loss or salary cut, an unexpected expense, a divorce, a business loss, or even helping a family member or friend in need. At Consolidated Credit, we understand that debt problems are not about overspending. It's about emergencies and unexpected situations. Consolidated Credit has helped over 5 million people, just like you. The options for getting out of debt have never been better. We can reduce your interest rates, cut your monthly payments, and help you get out of debt fast. The time to call Consolidated Credit is now. There are a lot of ways to get into trouble with debt. There's only one trusted way to get out: Consolidated Credit. When debt is the problem, we're the solution.
Call Consolidated Credit now.
Call 800-990-8939. That's 800-990-8939.
Welcome back to ONME Sunday Mornings, our review. My name is Julia Dudley Najib, along with
Linus Najib.
And we've been recapping on the latest news that's been happening locally and nationwide. And Valley Black Talk Radio, starting September 14th, along with ONME Sunday Mornings. You can listen to it on the radio on AM 1680 starting September 14th. And those will be every Sunday from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. You'll hear ONME Sunday Mornings first from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then thereafter from 9 to 12 a.m. you'll hear myself with Jewel Riversmith and of course Mel Sanders on AM 1680. I know some of you might back away and say, whoa, that's conservative radio? Yes, it is. But however, our views are open. Our points are open. We hope that you will be able to call in, tune in. Doesn't matter what party you're from, Republican, Democrat, we like to hear it all. Just want to make sure you're able to hang out with us and get the latest news and information, and also hear your view, your opposing view, if it may be. And we've just been recapping on the latest news, and here's some light news that's inspiring, right? You have the Jackie Robinson West Little League team at the World Series. They didn't win, but I feel like they won bigger. And yes, they're talking about race now, meaning that it's got people dialoguing about it, but it's on a lighter side.
Yes, when I was watching it, I was noticing they was handshaking, it was exciting. And I didn't even know, for a long time, there was a team out of Chicago that had all black players. They was announcing each one coming out of there, and I was like, one black person, two. I was expecting to see something other than black coming out there, but every single one of the players was African American.
And so when we look at that story, why do you think people are so inspired by that? Every American was inspired by it. White, black.
I was looking at, I was rooting for them. you know, and I know some of the players came from challenging backgrounds where, you know, single parents, very
single parent
impoverished.
doesn't necessarily mean it's a challenging background.
Well, in other words, what I mean by that is they don't have the same income base and the same structure that typically other areas does have.
So what does that prove? You just said that, you know, because there's always stereotype because of where you come from.
Well, basically, they was talking about it's been a decline in African American males in baseball. It was an incline of African American males in basketball and also football predominantly. So declining in baseball, and now we see this team that's showcasing all over America. In Chicago, representing Chi-Town, and I thought that was very exciting to watch.
And they got even though it wasn't about the losing, but they still got a warm welcome coming back home. And I like the way people said, but they represented America. That's the first time I finally felt love.
You know what I loved about it the most? When I saw the African American young boys was shaking hands, and they did a little secret shaking hands, and they was happy, and they was happy, and even though they lost, they had a good sport attitude.
Right.
The African American young men up there in Chicago, they was very good sports, and that to me that's a win.
And it knocks out all those stereotypes that because of where you come from, or if you come from the ghetto, that you must act this way. Kind of relates back to the Michael Brown, all the stuff that's been happening from the Eric Garner and all the stereotypes people have, the man in Ohio who gets shot down. So they kind of help erase that. That's what makes it lighter news.
Yes, I was looking at it as something inspirational to me. You know, my brother played baseball, and it took him out of a frame of mind where he was going, you know, towards a negative approach. And baseball gave him something to take his mind and focus his mind on something positive, and he enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it.
Well, I guess that's it. At least we got to end on some light news, inspiring news, and we hope that you check that story out and more. And that's it for our ONME Sunday Morning Review. That went by so quick, right? Half an hour, what's going on? And we hope that you are able to watch the next show, where we have our hour show that encompasses more about the Michael Brown, the South African Consulate General that came to Fresno, and much more. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week.
AMP TV can now be watched on TV anytime through our Roku channel or on your computer online at amptvnow.com. Better yet, go mobile, live.amptvnow.com.